We want to be in action all the time. Then your messaging is consistent, your experience is consistent, your reputation is consistent. And are your actions consistent with the promises that you have made to your clients and your prospects? Has it ever occurred to you that you take action too quickly, and that by doing so, you're actually inhibiting your ability to create a valuable value proposition and to differentiate your business? There's the story of the two builders. One builder built his house on a foundation of rock. The other builder built his house on a foundation of sand. And of course, the rains come, the floods come, the winds come. And of course, the house, as we can predict, the house on rock stands firm and tall and solid. And of course, the house on sand collapsed and was destroyed. So what does this mean? What does this teach us about acting too soon? My name is Michèle Soregaroli. I work with professional services providers. I'm a professional coach, and I specialize in differentiation, value propositions, and competitive advantage. What do I mean by that? How do you differentiate your offer in a competitive environment when there's thousands of you saying the same thing, doing the same thing in a relationship-based business? If you're selling advice, I'm here to help so that you no longer have to differentiate every single day and try to think, what's unique about me? So today I want to talk about action. It's in our fast-paced world, in the things that we do, action is something that is highly revered. Get into action quickly, ship fast, get it done, move it forward. Things move quickly. Action's important, and that is 100%. I agree with that, 100%. There's so much value in taking action quickly. Action gives us, when we take action quickly, it gives us the opportunity to learn. It gives us the opportunity to pilot program something, or to pivot quickly, to find and generate new lessons and learning so that we can continue to iterate and improve. However, when we act too quickly and we haven't given ourselves the time to create clarity and focus before action, we're actually creating problems for ourselves, just like the builders. If you build your house without preparing with the strategic focus and the clarity that you need in order to generate a strong, solid foundation for the action to generate the results that you want, you've got problems. And we see this far too often, particularly in services business, where it's easy to get into action and say, of course, to this prospect in front of you, of course I can solve your problem. Of course I can do this for you. Of course I can help. Don't ever let an opportunity pass, right? Well, that's not necessarily the most valuable action you can take. You may be building your house on sand if that's what you're doing. So I want to offer you this. In previous videos, I've talked about the value of clarity and the value of focus. If you have not yet watched those, I want to encourage you to go back to watch those too, because they are the foundation of this work here today in action. Now, what does action represent? In terms of your differentiated value proposition, action is really about your behaviors and how you design your client experience. So this is about your systems, your workflows, your habits, your patterns, your routines, and the structure that you have created so that your clients can have a predictable, reliable, consistent experience that manifests not only the results that they expect, but also the experience that they expect and the experience that you want them to have. When you are in action and supported by clarity and focus, your actions are then simply the execution of your vision and your intentions, right? Your actions are no longer chasing after the solution and on your heels trying to catch up. They are ahead of the game. They're designed to support the experience and the outcomes that you want. So when action is incredibly valued from a differentiation perspective, it's because you have already designed the experience and your clients know what it's going to look like in advance. Why does this differentiate you? Because if you can tell people what to expect, so for example, if you're a lawyer and you're doing an initial consult, you're taking in a client and you're telling them about Okay, so you're gathering all your information. You're telling them the first thing we're going to do is get to know you. Tell me a little bit about your problems. Tell me about what the issue is. And then I'm going to tell you about what it's going to look like from here forward. And you will have enough information and you will have designed your client experience so that you can speak to the next steps confidently and clearly. You can speak to them in terms of the outcomes, in terms of the timelines, in terms of expectations. You can give your client a sense of comfort. You can also let them know that when you are in action, you are focusing on these specific things. This is where your skill set is going to be most valuable. This is the way you are going to do this work so that it generates the result. Your way of generating the result may be different from someone else's way of generating the same result. You may be more oriented towards, for example, again, if you're a lawyer, you may be more oriented towards litigation, whereas someone else may be more oriented towards mediation or perhaps even a collaborative approach. So when you are thinking about what action looks like, be not too quick to get into action. First, understand what the design is so that your actions and behaviors are consistent with the flow and the rhythms. So that's the first thing you want to be thinking about, is creating that structure and that flow and that vision of what the experience is that you're creating. The second thing you want to consider when you are in action is how you are highlighting your strengths, how your experience of being in action, solving the problem, creating value for your clients, how that experience is leveraging and designed to highlight and amplify your skill set, what you're exceptionally good at, how you are different from others, and how that sets you up for success. Your actions want to be completely inside your zone of excellence, your place of mastery, where you have the opportunity to truly show that you excel. These behaviors, patterns, workflows, systems, whatever they are, they're designed so that your client can see evidence of a process or an experience where they know what to expect. They know what is coming. So what I like to say is, when you are bringing in a new client or talking to a new prospect, right, the more that you can tell them about the experience in advance, the more that you can say something like, it's going to look like this. In my experience, this is the way we've designed it. These are the steps. These are the milestones. These are the expected outcomes. And this is what success looks like. The more you can do that, the more confidence you build at the front end. Then if once you move into the opportunity to start creating value, in other words, delivering your services, you want to keep reinforcing with your client, who's now a client, you want to keep reinforcing that you are fulfilling the promises and the expectation that you established when they first started with you. So saying things like at the 2-week mark or the 6-month mark or whatever, saying things like, remember that I mentioned that at 2 weeks we were going to do X? Well, here we are doing it. And now we're moving on to step number 3. Or our next step will be to do X, Y, Z, and then we're going to review this in our 4th month together, or whatever your milestones are. You're reinforcing for your client that you are following a process. Now, what this does for them is it gives them an immense degree of confidence in your ability to fulfill, because not only have you made that promise in advance, but you're actually highlighting and reinforcing that you're doing it. And each time you have completed a step or a phase in your process, you want to reinforce that you have done that and then highlight what's coming and remind them that you had already said that. Once the value delivery is complete, you want to, whether it's on an ongoing basis, for example, if you're a lawyer, you may have a case or a file that completes. If you're an advisor or an accountant, you may have an ongoing relationship with your client. And so that cycle may complete in 1 year or 3 years, or whatever the cycle is that you're wanting to create review, progress reports, and where you are now stepping into the next phase. So you want to have a life cycle or an arc of experience for your client, because you're building on a foundation that you have already designed and you've created it. You're building on rocks. You're building your house on rocks because you know that it's going to stand tall and it can withstand everything that might come at it. If you are in action reactively and just quickly dealing with the issue more tactically, less than strategically, for example, you're building on sand because each problem is in isolation of the big picture, and your client is not getting the whole experience. They're not experiencing your value as a whole picture. They're experiencing in little snippets that aren't building a house on a strong foundation. They're experiencing just little bits and pieces, and that house is likely going to fall apart. Their loyalty is not going to be as strong. Their confidence in your ability to deliver may be adequate, but not necessarily referable because they're not sure if it's by design or by accident. Have you done this because that's just for them, or is it because this is part of your process? So when you are in action, what you are doing is consistently reinforcing your value proposition. You are consistently reinforcing that it's designed this way, that you're capable and you're equipped and you are set up to succeed. When you do so, you're building a house on rock, and it can handle all the storms that come at it because your client has confidence that whatever is thrown at you, there's a solid foundation underneath it, and you have already got the substance to support any challenges that come forward because you've already planned for it. You've already seen it coming. So action is extremely valuable. We want to be in action all the time, and we want to be in action supported by very strong focus and a lot of clarity. And these are key differentiators for you. Remember, if you haven't yet seen the videos on clarity and focus, clarity is the fundamental part of your value proposition. It's where you actually start to create the essence of what makes your offer as strong as it can possibly be for you to be set up for success. Your focus then is where you know very clearly, without any degree of hesitation, where you deliver value strongly, where you are best to be partnering with types of clients, the problems that you solve, the issues and the challenges that you are best equipped to solve in the most valuable way. Not only because you have the skill set, but also because you have the desire and the excitement to do so. Right? So that's where focus comes in. And then action is the execution of that, the implementation and the follow through. And when you are giving thought to those three phases, clarity, focus, and action, as part of your value proposition, then your messaging is consistent, your experience is consistent, your reputation is consistent, and your results are amplified. Because any place that your clients look, whether it's talking with your team or looking at your collateral or hearing what you're saying or seeing you at a networking event, it all feels very congruent with what they are experiencing and what they're seeing. So they have little doubt, no reason to doubt that you are fully and completely committed to the value proposition that you have promised them and the one that they are experiencing. This is a key part of differentiation. Thank you for listening today. Your next step is to think about, are the results that you're generating equivalent to the results that you expected from the actions that you're taking? If you are not generating results that are consistent with what you expect, there is probably something not being addressed in the system being clarity, focus, and action, these three filters. So you can always look, do you have enough clarity? Do you have the focus that you need? Are you distracted? Are you pulled away? Are your priorities clear? And are your actions consistent with the value proposition that you have made, the promises that you have made to your clients and your prospects? If your results are not consistent with your expectations, there's something wrong in the system, a gap or an oversight or something that is not yet being addressed. I encourage you to think about it that way. Look at the system and then get into action. That's your differentiation strategy. I invite you to join us for future videos. If this one has been valuable to you, please subscribe to the channel. And secondly, as always, if this particular content has brought to mind anyone you know in your network who you think might appreciate this specific message today, I encourage you to share this. Give back, help your peers, help your network succeed. As you help them succeed, you will also succeed. Thanks for joining me today. Have a great day and a fantastic week, and I'll look forward to seeing you the next time. Bye for now.